Hey everyone, hope you're doing good. I am Rob, I'm a violinist and a teacher, and today I am going to talk to you guys a little bit about playing by ear. So, I started playing music at 3 years old. I started in the Suzuki method. The Suzuki method is a very heavy ear training method. So I played by ear for a long time, and then I got into orchestra at like fourth grade, and I couldn't read nothing. I couldn't read music at all, but I knew how to play, and I was already playing like Silent Night in four different keys, and so I already had the good thing about playing by ear is it really internalizes the music for you. I think with sight reading we get very external and we're like sitting there reading the page and everything is out. But playing by ear, it forces you to go internal with all of your music making, which is extremely positive. And so with playing by ear, how I kind of started is the method would have you listen to the song over and over and over. We had these little tapes back then, but you'd listen to the book and you just listen to the song over and over and over, and by the time you got to play it, you've heard that song like 40 times or 100 times or whatever. And so as a kid, I was listening, my parents were having me watch all those fabulous Disney movies, so like The Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, that kind of stuff. They were also playing for me a whole bunch of like musicals like Oklahoma and My Fair Lady and stuff, and obviously I was listening to all of their music as well, this fabulous like classic rock stuff, James Taylor, the Carpenters, John Denver, like just all their music. And so I was hearing that stuff over and over and over, and then after a while I was just trying to listen to it and tried to hum it in my head and hack out all the notes, and so one of the things, just tooting my own horn a little bit, is that, there's a lot of stuff that I'm not very good at in life, but playing songs at the top of my head, I'm really, really, really good at it. I've been doing it since I was a little kid, and I'm not saying this to brag, but this gets into my first point, that even somebody like me who's really good at playing by ear, I can't do songs I just heard 4 minutes ago. That's not going to happen. Maybe a phrase or something, but you absolutely, when you're first trying this, you have to pick songs that you know really, really good, and picking really easy songs is also very helpful, obviously. Start with something easy, like Happy Birthday or something. And so, and so songs that you could sing all of the words to, and you can sort of hum it in your head, so really try easy songs at first. What I'm going to do today is, it's December, so I'm kind of in Christmas mode, so I found that Christmas songs work really, really good at first. One, you know them really, really well. You've heard them all the time, every year, but also they're relatively easy as well, so that can really help you get started with that. So always pick songs that can help, that can really help. I've had so many problems with my students that won't sit there and hum them in their head. Obviously they're in lesson and they're just nervous to sing in front of me, but keep humming the song, like something like Silent Night, Silent Night, Holy Night, and be really, really clear in your head and accurate about when you're humming that. Because if you don't have it in your head, you are never going to play it. So really, really hum it accurately in your head, and that will really help you bring it out with your instrument. So absolutely keep humming the song. Sometimes we'll get in the middle of a big verse and it'll get all clumsy and fumbled, but keep humming it. Definitely saying the words, if there are some, can help as well. And just be really accurate. Don't be like doing non-pitched Silent Night, night, it's right there, right? Be really accurate when you're humming it in your head. Picking a good key can help. So at first, on violin specifically, we kind of have our first finger in our C sharp or F sharp, our 3. So we have this normal finger pattern. If you start with a lot of starting the song on like an open D, open A, open E, or starting maybe sometimes on an F sharp can keep you in a pretty good key. But that can really, really help. You'll have a whole bunch of weird fingers if you start on a weird note. And so that can really help. Sometimes you don't have a choice and you're playing with a record that's in a weird key, but that just is what it is. But picking these songs off the top of your head, start on a good note. It'll really make it a lot easier that your key is really good. So what a lot of times what happens is that when I'm doing this call and answer with my students, it's the same process as playing by ear, right? It's kind of working on that muscle and that listening muscle. But a lot of times my students will just be hacking around all over trying to figure out the note. And a lot of times they're not using their brains with process of elimination, right? This should be this should be self-explanatory, but sometimes people need to hear this, where if I'm playing them a note and they're hacking around on the G string, like they're not even using their brain at that point, right? Does that sound low? All right? And then they're like, oh, well, no, right? I'm like, so why are you hacking around on the G string, right? So when you're going through all these notes, this is basically called interval practice, like the distance between two notes. This happens a lot when we're playing by ear, is when you play a note, you want to figure out if that note is higher or lower than the one you just played. So for example, O Come All Ye Faithful. So we have like, all is the next note. O come all, right? O come all ye faithful, right? What am I doing with my finger right here? You see what I'm doing? And even my chin, I will come up with my head. Well, what I'm doing is I'm kind of dictating myself and reminding myself that this next note is lower than the one I just played, right? So you have like, all ye faithful. Right? Joy. Right? So you're going through all of those notes and trying to figure out if that next note is higher or lower, and that will narrow down for you at least what note you're about ready to play, so you're not fishing around forever, fishing around to try to find what note it is, right? So think about if it's higher or lower. Another thing you can do that you saw what I was doing with my finger here. So, oh come all ye faithful, right? What is all of this? Right? So I'm going higher or lower, but what I'm also doing is I'm reminding myself, is this next note really close to the one that I just played, or is it higher? Or is it far away from the one I just played? So here's an example. How about like Joy to the World? So, right? If I'm humming that in my head, joy to the world, the Lord is come. See, right there, I did a really small motion. Right? This is what we call a very scalular song. Pretty easy. That's just literally a D scale. Jump up to A, some more scale. Right? So a song like that is all really, really easy. All my notes are really close together. And that can narrow down, right? So if I'm in the middle on D and A, don't jump all the way over to E when the note's really close, right? Pick a note that's close up or down, right? Another example is when you have something like weather outside is fine. Let it snow, right? So the first part of the song, the first two notes, oh, the weather, see what I'm doing with my finger, right? That's a huge jump right there. That's an actual octave, right? Here's another one. Another one. And then just scales all the way down. Right? So when you're singing through these songs, really figure out if that note is way far away from the one you just played, up or down, or if it's really close. It can really help narrow down what note you're about ready to play. All right? So think about the distances, the intervals of your next note. Now, another one that's really funny is the whole idea of figuring out if this note is sort of what I call like a weird note or an out of key note. Right? So again, we have our regular finger pattern with our 1, 2, and 3. Well, sometimes you get a note that's going to be like kind of a really odd out of key note. Well, if you're an out of key note, it's not going to be one of those, or like an open, that's in your regular key. What it's probably going to be is it might be like a low 2, an F natural. It might be like something like a low 1, A flat, E flat, or it might be like a high 3 of some kind. Right? So that can also narrow down for you what note you're about ready to play. So let's take one, White Christmas. Right? So you have that next note. I'm dreaming of, that's a weird note right there, so it's not going to be in my regular finger pattern, right? Weird note. Another weird note. That's a weird, that F sharp is weird for that key. Right, see my big E flat there? Right? Then the next part, again, all scale, pretty easy. All normal notes there. That's all my normal F sharps and E's and D's and easy. Right? So it's just that one little spot that has that weird note, and that can narrow down for you that I have to pick some weird one that I don't, that's not in my key. Right? Another example, it's beginning to look like a lot like Christmas, a little bit trickier of a song. Ooh, you hear that weird note? Then up here is another one. Big weird B flat there. Another one. That weird A flat right there. So that part has a bunch of really weird notes in there. Even that part easy. Right? Then there's a chorus part that's actually really fast and tricky, but it's actually not very tricky because it's all scales. Right? Pretty tricky, a lot of like triplets and stuff in there, but it's all in my key, right? Pretty easy. You can hear I can just like fly through it in 2 seconds. Right? It's all in my scale. It's right there in my scale. Right? So really finding out if the note is kind of a weird note or not can really help you narrow down. All right, so try that one. And then these two are basically an example of sometimes it's I have had students that have had really trouble finding the notes of a song, but when you start like humming the actual rhythm with the words can actually help you a lot. So think of something like Jingle Bells, right? So you have and then this next part is really easy with the notes, but the rhythm is weird. All of that is just 2 notes, but really humming it. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one, right? You hear that there's some rhythm in there, right? So really hearing the rhythm of the song can actually help you with the words. Because when you're listening to all of this stuff, you're osmosising all of it, and you don't realize it, right? It's subconscious. So you're doing a lot of rhythm in there when you're listening to the song. So actually really humming out the actual rhythm can help you with that. The same thing happens when you take something like articulation or tone, right? So with tone, for example, take something like Oh Holy Night, Oh Holy Night, right? You're never going to sing that with like a really tight lip or whatever. You want to bring out some of the tone to it. If you're gonna really play it exactly like the record or like the song needs to, you need to give a song like that quite a bit of tone, and then that'll sound right. right? The same thing with, what's another one? Like Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Here's another example of a weird note coming up. Hear that big B flat, right? So there's another example of a weird note, right? But the point is that you want to give that a song like that, and you want to listen and hear that they're giving quite a bit of smooth, big, long tone right there. So if you're trying to play that by ear and really play exactly the right thing, you can't just use a tiny bit of bow. You need to make that sound really nice, right? Articulation is another one that you can do once you start getting the notes and the rhythms. So think of a song like Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. So, okay, so you have like, and you want to kind of swing this, right? Right, so. Right, so you want to kind of swing that little spot, right? And don't slop the rhythm, right? If you want to play the song right. On the bridge, there's a little stop in there. Right, you hear that little stop on that note? Right, and you're deck the halls with that deck, and you want to cut that off, right? So when you're listening to all these songs by ear, you're listening for all of it. You're listening for the notes, the rhythms, the articulation, the tone that they're doing. Singers will use all sorts of little tones, right? When it's a little bit warm and bigger and more round, or if you want to kind of thin it out a little bit where it's a little more piercing, there's times where you'll use all of those. Right, so really listen for the style and stuff of the song, and that can help you jog your memory on the actual notes too. So last thing I'll talk to you about is when you're playing through songs, another thing that can help you with playing by ear is thinking about the structure. Okay, so especially when you're dealing with something like pop music, right? They'll have an actual structure of the song. You'll have like a verse, a chorus, then another verse, or an intro, verse, chorus, then like a bridge maybe, right? There's all these sections. And so really remembering which section comes next can help you with if you get the end of this part right, it can help jog your memory of what the next part is. Right? So think of a song. So what I do is I will think of, and you can use any system in your head, but like having some sort of system in your head really helps. So what I like to do is instead of looking at it, maybe like you look at it like a page of music in your head. So it's like a photographic memory where you're seeing, okay, you literally see a page in your head. But what I like to do, and I don't know why I do this, but this is how I do it, is I see it like a big timeline in front of me. So you have section, so it's like verse, chorus, bridge, verse, whatever the sections are, but I see it in a big line like that. So it looks something like this. Imagine this one was right there, right? So that's what I would see in my head. But if you have something like Jingle Bells, this is like basically a two-part song. We have the big beginning, big kind of intro, and then we have the chorus, right? So with there, you're thinking out your phrasing, right? So, dashing through the snow, first, right? In one horse open sleigh, all the fields we go, and then there's a weird, this is a two-part intro, that part and that part, but the end of it is a certain ending, right? So if you have there's another weird note, big big C sharp right there. Then here's the ending. Right, so there's my first ending. Right? Then I play the next part. Second ending. Right? You hear the different ending there. So remembering where you're at in the song and figure out which ending you're doing. The same thing happens with the chorus. Right? Right? So that's the first ending. Then it repeats, right? Different ending, right? So thinking out the structure of your song and remembering which ending is where and whatever, even at the end of this, that can remind you to go to the chorus. Oh jingle bells, right? So even that last note can remind you what the next thing is, right? So different structures of the song can help jog your memory as well about what notes you're trying to find, right? So this can be really daunting for a lot of people. You know, most of my students that I have all come from orchestras, so they're so used to looking at the page, and so this feels really weird to them to try to like play stuff off the top of their head. But if you do some of these tricks, it can make it really easy. Once you get used to doing this find how close the note is, or is the note higher or lower, like all of these will get so fast. I mean, you'll be able to do these in like a millisecond. Right? But at first you'll have to like kind of practice it and think out these different like rules. But try this. Pick Christmas songs, pick songs that you know really, really well, and you'll be able to do it. You know, you'll be able to do it. Just kind of try it. And playing, you know, sight reading is really, really important. In orchestra, you got to be able to sight read. But in a band, it's really interesting because a lot of the country bands, pop stuff, rock bands, you know, a lot of those guys don't even use music. So you've got to kind of, if you're going to play in those bands, you got to be able to kind of memorize a lot of songs. And it can really help you when you, this has happened in my band a ton, where because I know all the melodies and I can just hack his melodies out like first shot in some Hotel California or Mrs. Robinson. That's one that I play on Mrs. Robinson a lot. Right? And you just sit there and hack through the melodies. And so we just made that part of our arrangement. Is because I could just, I mean, off the top of my head, just play that immediately. We did a little thing for me, a little violin solo where I play the melody at the end. It's kind of neat. And so that can happen a ton with different songs if you're really good at playing by ear. So practice that a little bit, and it'll be really fun for you. You can play, you know, the idea is if you learn how to sight read, you have like 8,000 songs immediately you can play, but the same thing works for ear, right? If you learn how to, this kind of structure of how to like listen to it and find the note, you know, that note is what the one I'm singing, right? If you're able to hear it and sing it out loud and then find the note, I mean, you're going to be deadly. Right? You can just do this forever. I mean, you have literally 9 billion songs you can play if you can play by ear. So practice doing this, and it'll be really fun. You'll find a lot of enjoyment out of it, like I have. So there you go. I got some on my channel. I got some clips of me playing. I have an interview show where I've interviewed a whole bunch of musicians. If you want some helpful hints about how to get better at music and some reaction videos I got up there, and you know, a bunch of stuff, some more tutorial videos like this. So if you like what you're seeing, you know, like the video and check out some more of those videos, subscribe to the channel, and very much appreciated, and hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will talk to you next time. See ya.